everybody, Scott Luton with Supply Chain Now as we continue some great interviews here in the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex. And I'm really pleased to have my friend and industry dynamo, Nari Viswanathan with Coupa. Nari, how you doing today?
I'm doing really well, Scott. Welcome to Dallas.
Thank you. Great to see you. Now, I'll tell you, I've had a great pleasure, and I've learned a ton from Nari through a variety of webinars and podcasts back in the day. And it's great to connect with him here as we get to know him a little better and get some of his observations on what we're seeing, not just across industry, but how cool it is to live and work in here at the DFW Metroplex. So let's do this, Nari. For all the folks out there that may have missed our earlier conversations, didn't get a chance to get to know you a little better, tell us about yourself.
Thank you, Scott. Let me quickly introduce myself. I am Nari Viswanathan. Work with Coupa Software. I've been living in the Dallas Metroplex area for about 20 years.
Man, 20 years. So I bet you could just about write a book as you've seen Texas and, of course, the Metroplex evolve, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this whole area has been evolving with supply chain and logistics in such a very dynamic manner.
And we were talking pre-show, Nari. You're talking about how it's not just DFW, the Metroplex, that's been evolving and advancing and growing, but really the whole state of Texas, huh?
Absolutely, yeah. So Texas has been a hub of supply chain and logistics for several years now, but the evolution of manufacturing here has been very, very dynamic. There are a lot of companies building manufacturing facilities here. You see Tesla having their headquarters in Austin. You see SpaceX having their headquarters in Starbase. There was a recent announcement made about Stargate,
right,
which is an AI-based data center with $500 billion of investment. That's there in Abilene, Texas. You see Samsung building a huge semiconductor plant close to north of Dallas in a city called Sherman. So a very dynamic environment for manufacturing growth.
Lots of reasons to be here in Texas, including the Metroplex, to live, work, and find success and opportunities. So I'm going to ask you, let's talk about living here. You know, especially here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. What's some of your favorite parts of living here?
So one of the real amazing things about living here, frankly, has been the cost of living. It's been very reasonable so far. In recent times, it has increased due to inflation, but still it's quite a livable city. It's also a very diverse city. I mean, Irving, the city where I live in, has been rated as one of the most diverse cities out there.
Okay.
A very big Asian population, a lot of international cuisines. It's a great place to live and raise family too, because the school districts are really good too.
Okay, man. There's nothing, I don't hear anything bad about being here and raising a family, eating good food, meeting an eclectic mix of folks. And of course, we're going to talk more about the professional market too. All right, so Nari, 20 years here, right? Doing big things in supply chain, big things in business. You were just telling us about probably trillions of dollars coming here in new investments, right? Exciting. For folks that may have not been here, haven't worked here, maybe the DFW Metroplex hasn't been on the radar as much, what elements about this industry ecosystem might surprise them?
Yeah, so I think one of the key points here is we know about the fact that the Dallas-Fort Worth airport is a very large airport in terms of the volume of people going through it as well as the volume of cargo. So there's a free port and a special economic zone where there's billions of dollars of cargo that goes out there. And we also know the fact that there's a lot of traffic or a lot of truckloads coming from Mexico going all the way to the rest of the American Midwest areas. But the area I think where it will be quite surprising to people is there is a very healthy ecosystem of supply chain software companies here and supply chain technology people living here in Dallas. Yeah. There has been a lot of very, I would say, innovative companies in the supply chain world which were kind of started out here and grew into much bigger companies. Example is in I2 Technologies, which is one of the first companies which was involved in supply chain software. It was started maybe a few miles from here. And I started my career with them.
Really? And you've got a fascinating background. We're going to have to, I wish we had a couple more hours with you, Nari, to kind of pick your brain a bit. But I want to kind of offer up a follow-up question, because I know one of the things you're passionate about, one of the intersections you're passionate about is where supply chain, procurement, and AI in business all meet. And I tell you, it is a fascinating time to keep up with what's going on in the world of artificial intelligence. I feel like it evolves a little bit, or maybe a lot, by the hour. Give us a few more thoughts there, especially with all the technology players that we have here that's changing how supply chain is being done.
Yeah, actually one of the big requirements for AI is energy, because you have to have big data centers to run these huge clusters of GPUs, as we call them, these huge GPUs which process all of the AI math behind it. So one of the advantages that DFW and specifically Texas has is because of the good renewable energy sources. You may be really surprised to see that Texas has got a very high percentage of solar and wind energy. In fact, it's I would say 50-50 between renewable and non-renewable energy sources. So that's another reason why I believe that the whole AI ecosystem will grow significantly in the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex.
Yeah, and speaking of energy, we're going to have to kind of reinvent and continue to find innovation there, given the data centers, major consumers of this energy that is powering artificial intelligence and other cutting edge and leading edge technologies that's transforming all aspects of really global business. So we're going to have to continue to find, a lot of folks are looking at nuclear power, like the new chapter of gold nuclear power. We'll see where that goes. I think there's some opportunities there, huh?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Nuclear power, solar, again, as I mentioned before. Then you have other forms of renewable energy. Wind energy is big in Texas as well.
Yeah, we got to look at all of it. Okay, so let's talk supply chain, because we have plenty of times before. I always enjoy your perspective and expertise. And there's no shortage of exciting things, disruptive things to be tracking in global end-to-end supply chain. But Nari, if you had to pick one that you really find intriguing, you're working with it, you're reading about it, you're researching it, what would that one thing be?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, because in recent times I've been really looking into the aspect of tariffs. There's been a lot of discussion about tariffs with the new administration. And the reality is tariffs have been there for a very long time. These are not new. The notion of whether you should have tariff versus subsidy for industry is something which has been discussed and implemented across many administrations. But one of the key ways to tackle this problem is really have the ability to understand the impact of those tariffs. Figure out how you can model your supply chain, how you can run these scenarios, and figure out what if this kind of a tariff comes from products which are coming from Mexico? What if the tariff comes from these products which are coming from Canada? What's the impact of tariffs if I'm exporting my products to other countries? If you have that kind of a knowledge with you, I think you'll be much better positioned rather than having to worry about it and really be afraid of what's going to happen.
Yep. And I like that you call out network design, scenario planning, and gosh, technology enables us to do that on a far greater scale, whether you're trying to figure out contingencies related to trade policy or tariffs or any other disruptions out there. Is that right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's really trying to understand where the risks are and trying to be more proactive about it. Because now you, again, going back to what we discussed about AI, now you got these powerful machines which allow you to run these scenarios and figure out what's going to happen in the future and be better prepared for it.
I think I caught a recent article that you published in one of the great supply chain media outlets out there talking about trade policy and tariffs and impact and what organizations can do. And that doesn't surprise me, Nari. By my count, I think you've been repeatedly recognized, 27 times as a supply chain pro to know and to learn from out there. Does that sound about right, 27 times?
Actually, it's more like 6, but yeah, thank you for your compliment.
All right, so let's do this. I want to make sure folks know how to connect with you, right? Of course, you can find Nari. He's made some previous appearances on Supply Chain Now. Always a pleasure to talk with him and learn from him. But Nari, if folks wanted to track you down, talk about trade policy, supply chain, procurement, the intersection with all of that and AI and business, how can they find you?
So I think the best way to look for me would be the LinkedIn. That's where I'm most active. The LinkedIn community for supply chain is very dynamic. There's so many different voices out there, and it's really heartening to see the impact that we as supply chain professionals are making and communicating our thoughts, and LinkedIn is proving to be a great platform to be able to do that.
That's right. LinkedIn is a great platform for supply chain discussions, business discussions, ever-evolving leadership trends here in 2025 and beyond. So you can find Nari there, and please do. You're going to want to learn from his take on a wide variety of supply chain topics, right? So I want to thank Nari Viswanathan with Coupa. Nari, a pleasure to connect with you here today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Folks, that's a wrap with Nari here. Stay tuned for more conversations with some of the leaders making supply chain happen right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex. You can find it all at supplychainnow.com or wherever you get your podcast from. Stay tuned.